The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Business Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericabusiness.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the hosts or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Forbes magazine recently reported that there were 1,210 billionaires in the U.S. collectively. They were worth over $4.5 trillion. America continues to be the world's largest economy and boasts the lion's share of this ultra-rich class of people. In spite of this fact, an estimated 46.2 million people in America are living in poverty today. Where are we going wrong, and what can we do about it? Welcome to Wealth Solutions for the 99% with your host, Paul LaJoie. Let us show you some of the strategies that will set you on the path to building personal wealth. These are proven strategies that are working for others and can work for you too. Now, here is your host, Paul LaJoie.
Welcome to Wealth Solutions with Paul LaJoie, a real estate consultant, the guy who shows you how to create wealth using real estate. Last week we had a guru who's really good at apartment investing. Week before that, or sometime before that, we talked about investing using private money. You know, when people are using their lines of credit right now, they're using their IRAs to make a lot of money. You know, and last week after the show, I had several of you call me and emailed me telling me how interested you were in apartment investing. This week, we're going to have something more interesting, which is kind of new to me, but is equally exciting because everywhere you go in America, you have this type of property. This type of property, most people just, you spend a night there, a night or two, or you travel. You go abroad, you see that. That's one place that you got to spend your time in. And these places are really nice and clean and, you know. So we'll talk about hotels. Hotels. For the average person, when we talk about investing in real estate, you know, to think about single-family residences, to think about, you know, condos or townhouses, and maybe you even think about an apartment, a small apartment, like a duplex, a triplex, or fourplex. But today, we'll talk about you investing in hotels. So I'm very excited about this because I have Mr. Jason all the way from Austin, Texas, beautiful Austin, Texas. He's going to talk to us about investing in real estate using hotels, investing in hotels. And he teaches this exciting course saying Rich in 5. So I'm excited about this. I hope you are too. But without further ado, I would like to welcome Jason. Jason, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Paul. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. How's the weather in California? I understand you're in California, and you're today in San Jose, and tonight you're going to be in Fremont. How is the weather in California compared to Austin, Texas? I've never been there.
Well, it's actually funny that you said that because I brought my wife and kids up here last month, and we basically spent 3 to 4 weeks here in California going up and down the coast, and my goodness, I think that is something that we're going to have to do every single summer because it's just so beautiful here. The weather is so wonderful. And Austin, guys, I love Austin. Austin is probably one of my favorite cities, and I'm glad that I live there. But in the summer, it is brutal, meaning that the temperature is 100 degrees plus almost every single day. Mix that in with just a little bit of humidity, and it makes for a very uncomfortable walk outside or getting in the car. It just makes it tough. So every time I get a chance to California now, I'm coming. It is, especially in the summertime. I love it here.
Oh, wow. So you went up born in California. Last week I had Mr. Anthony Chara, who is one of the nation's top investor gurus in terms of apartments. He was born in Southern California, now lives in Colorado. So where were you born, Jason?
I'm a military brat, so I was born on Scott Air Force Base, which is just basically east of St. Louis, Illinois, or Missouri. I guess I was born on the eastern side of town. So basically right after I was born, my father got stationed to the Azores, which is some islands off the coast of Portugal. So I did a lot of traveling as a youngster and didn't finally come back to the United States until I was about 10 or 11 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you lived around the world, too.
Yeah, I think the longest stint we had was in Great Britain. So that was for about 5 years.
Oh, okay. So I might guess why you are interested or why you invest in hotels, because you travel around the world and you live in hotels. Is that the reason why, or one of the reasons that you got interested in investing in hotels?
Well, I'd love to say that I just grew up loving to play the game Monopoly, but that's kind of not really the truth. I mean, the truth is I had a job just like most people probably listening to your show. And I used to work at Dell Computers, and I was there for almost 10 years. And, there was something else out there that I needed. I didn't really get pushed out of Dell. It was a choice of mine, a good choice of mine to actually be able to leave. But, I guess what really got to me was that I had a boss who basically told me that I could not go to my grandfather's funeral when he passed away. So that kind of made me think, really long and hard about this thing called a job and the security of it, because he basically threatened that he would let me go if I decided to go. And I just said to myself, there's got to be something else. And I found that there was another person there at Dell who had real estate. And so it just kind of intrigued me. And so I went ahead and asked him a few pointers, and that's how it all started, because I knew that he'd said something about positive cash flow and the amount of money he was making from these houses. And so that really got my attention, and I knew that was possibly my way out of having that typical job, sitting in a cube making 100 phone calls a day. So I knew I had to do something. I wanted to do something, and I wanted it bad because I knew there was something else out there that I just had to do.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, Dell is a great company started by some guy over there. He's in Austin, right? And in his mom's garage. But you know what? The story of yours is very similar to many other people's stories, including myself. In 2005, I left the corporate world. I used to work as a computer, program manager at a computer firm here in Silicon Valley. And at one point, the director of my department, who was my direct boss, and my friend's young daughter, 18 years old, she just passed away, and I was going to pay my last respects to her. And and I called him. I said, "Listen, sir, I cannot get back to the office on time because of the traffic." The guy, and I said, he knew where I was going, and he got mad at me that I could not make it to a meeting. Come on, my friend's daughter. Beautiful young girl. She just died by accident, and I can't pay my last respects to her because of her job, So okay, so for you, that happened. You could not go to your grandfather's funeral, and you decided, okay, you talked to a friend of yours, and your eyes opened. And what did you invest in first? What was the first thing that you invested in?
The first thing that I invested in was a house, because I read my Robert Kiyosaki book. I joined my real estate investment club, which were two really good things. And, I wanted to get into real estate, and so I purchased a house on a creative strategy called a lease option. And there's, most people are familiar with that. Investors out there are familiar with lease options. And so I started off with my very first house being a lease option, and I made $200 a month and positive cash flow. So I was extremely ecstatic with that $200 coming in every single month.
Wow. Okay. So lease option. So if someone's listening out there and you are beginning to invest in real estate, lease option might be one of the ways that you can start. So you did a lease option. Did you put any money down?
I did not.
Wow.
I found a motivated seller, somebody who really wanted to get out of their house. Basically, they just asked me if I would just take over their payments, and I said that I would, and was making the payments for them, and found what you call a tenant buyer to come in and pay me more than what the payments that I was responsible for making. So if the payments, let's just give you an example, the payments or the mortgage for the sellers was $1,000 a month, I was able to go out and find what I call a tenant buyer to pay me $1,200 a month, therefore giving me $200 a month in positive cash flow.
How amazing is that? Money without any money out of your pocket. So you started with lease options. What was the next step? And when was that, Jason? When did you start?
That was in 2000. I think we decided, my wife and I sat down, you got to make those joint decisions, right? My wife and I sat down and we decided that real estate was the way to go, and I think that decision came in 2004. Now, I didn't get my very first house until maybe 4 to 5 months. So it almost got frustrating, but when I got that first deal and I saw that I was able to do it, my confidence shot through the roof. And I was able to do, I think around 17 more houses that year alone back in 2004 and 5.
Wow, 2004 and 5, basically with lease options. And you said that you read a book by Robert Kiyosaki. That's actually a book that helped me also get to decide whether or not I wanted to do something for myself. Which book did you read? Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Which book was that?
I read the book Retire Young, Retire Rich. Because I was somewhat still of a young man, and I thought that sounds really good. And, that the name really caught my attention, and the book caught my attention. But the problem is, it's not a how-to book. It is a mindset book. So after I read that book, I couldn't put it down, and I could barely go back into Dell and take those phone calls. It drove me crazy every day having to go to my cube and answer the phone. Thank you for calling Dell. This is Jason. How can I help you? I mean, it hurt. It was just the most painful thing I had to do. So I was really excited when I was able to get that first house.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing what real estate can do to people. I remember when I started real estate part-time as a real estate agent, my phone was ringing up the hook. My first transaction here in the Bay Area was $925,000. I did not even insure the property. Someone was interested in the property. They had been looking. This was 2005 when the market was so crazy. It was a colleague of mine. I told her that a friend of